So someone asked me to share my solution to homework 1, problem 6, so here it is. We start with the same flight chart that you all had from problem 5 and went on Google Maps to get distances and times between the two cities. We use our 30 miles per gallon and the $2.50 per gallon, calculate the cost, and also keep track of the number of days. And we want to minimize the number of days. So we're very interested in maybe doing all the traveling in 5 days total. That's the minimum. So we start with, ignore that red number for a minute. Start with this graph. This is a combination of those two charts with flights or driving if we could finish the driving in 1 day and it was cheaper than the flight. So we've got some pretty expensive numbers on here. And we quickly realize we can check all the possibilities with brute force. We can do a little greedy algorithm plus brute force. But really the issue is that going to and from Seattle is very expensive. The only cheap way, if we ignore this red number, is to go from Seattle to Chicago. Everything else, we've got 304, 349, 359, 423, and 298. Those are pretty big numbers. So we want to minimize that as much as possible. And that's with 120 to Chicago, and then 298, we have to go from Dallas to Seattle. That's a one-way thing. That's $418 already. Our budget is $700. So the question is, can we do the rest for under $300? And the answer is no. The best we can do, now that we've used Chicago and Dallas, we have to use this Minneapolis to New York way, one way or another. So then we find there's only two possibilities then, and the cheaper way is this. So we're going from Seattle to Chicago to New York to Minneapolis to Dallas to Chicago. We can do that for $773.84. So that's a bit over budget. So your first question might be to ask the person who's traveling, well, can you find another $75? Because if so, this is easy. 5 days, you can do your traveling. The driving is not too bad. These 118 and 139, let's see, yeah, 18 hours. So, I mean, could be better, but you don't have to speed. You don't have to do anything weird. Now, to try to get this budget down, if they don't have another $75, if we look at this chart, probably shouldn't do this, but we look at this 24 hours. That's pretty close to our cap of 20 hours. If we speed, and we calculate this, we're going more than 80 miles per hour for 20 hours. Probably don't want to do this, but if we're very, very budget conscious and we still want to stay under 5 days, we can get from Seattle to Minneapolis in 1 day for $174.17. That's that crossed out. 304, that's now our new price. Where are we? Okay. So now we can get down to $715.84. That's pretty close to our budget. If they have another $16 and are willing to speed, it's only really one bad day of driving. These first 3 days are flying. So we got one not great day of driving and one really bad day of driving. They're willing to do that. They go Seattle to Chicago, to Dallas, to New York, to Minneapolis, back to Seattle for a little bit over our budget. Okay, not willing to do that. We got to go 6 days. Now we're including the driving prices for 2 days of driving. And then we can only use one of these highlighted things. So the highlighted things are 2 days of driving. If we use 2 of them, we're now at 7 days. So in the red, I've still put the flight prices just in case we need those. Okay, now we can do a little bit better than 773, which was the only really non-cheating way of getting 5 days. So we've got this 755.84, which was really $40 more than that one. So we're not cheating now. We're actually taking the 2 days of driving, which is a little bit better. Or we now have this new option. We go actually this same route as here, except we're now driving from Dallas to Seattle over 2 days instead of the expensive flying. we've now saved about $40, $728.42. We can pull the same trick. This is worse because Dallas to Seattle is longer. But if they want to drive for over 100 miles per hour for 20 straight hours, they can get under budget. They can save that 1 day of rental car fee and be $688.42. Would not recommend this option, but might present it to them in case they're interested. Okay. Otherwise, we go to layovers, which was not originally part of the problem, but you guys all thought of this. And I think it's a great idea. So now we can cheapen Seattle to New York. There was never any reason to drive that because even 3 days of driving was about the same price as the flight, the 1 day flight. So Seattle to New York, if we stop off in Chicago, is now only $218. Dallas to New York, same thing. Stopping off in Chicago is $149, and Seattle to Dallas, again, stopping off in Chicago, is $171. If we want to keep it to 6 days, we still only want to use one highlighted thing. Now you've got two different options, the Seattle to Chicago to New York to Minneapolis to Dallas to Seattle. That was $646.84. This other path actually uses the same flights. It just shuffles them around. The stopping in Chicago is at a different part of the trip, but gives you the cities in a different order, same price, and allows you to do this in 6 days for fully under your budget without any crazy speeding.